Thank you very much. And I respect that you're trying to make sure that commercially sensitive information isn't available. What I have found when I've reviewed this agreement, and in fact reviewed other publicly available documents like the CIF agreement 810-819553, which is related to the agreements that we're talking about today, is that the redactions are not consistent. And so what I want to understand is, if you're saying it's commercially sensitive, that's the basis for the redactions, then why is there sort of a lack of consistency between the redactions and the documents? So, for example, in CIF agreement 810-819553, you redacted the costs of the various the funding agreement, but in CIF agreement, the one that we're talking about here, 813-816-251, the dollar amounts in fact aren't redacted, and the dollar amounts of the other agreement are in that document. Like amendment number 2 of CIF 816-251 puts in the full amount of the $15 billion contribution. So it's not redacted in this document, but it's redacted in another. Can you explain that inconsistency?
The question. I don't have the other agreement that you're referring to with me. However, what I can say is that when we do get a request for documents for committees, in any case, we always approach the companies at the end of the day to make sure that we actually have a process in terms of understanding what they feel is commercially confidential and could be harmful to their competitive position. And we review that with the companies to make sure that in our assessment we also feel that there's some legitimacy to it being commercially confidential. In this case, as I've outlined in the letter to the committee, we feel that the information that is not included or that is redacted, maybe I should phrase it that way, is legitimately commercially confidential. So it's about IP strategies, it's about investments in R&D, investments in CapEx, which could actually give some sense to their competitors and give them some sense of what they're doing and could harm their competitive position. So it's a case-by-case basis. A company may feel over time that it no longer needs to be protected, and that may change. But as we do it on a case-by-case basis with each company.
Sure. Let's say I accept that explanation on CapEx and R&D and other things. But for example, in the document we're talking about today, 813 CIF agreement 813-816251, you've redacted the provincial funding envelopes. Like, how's that commercially sensitive? Like, you've got the federal CIF and then contributions from the provinces on page 19 and page 20. All of the provincial envelopes, funding envelopes, are redacted. How's that commercially sensitive? These are publicly available funding from the province.
Yeah. So my understanding in terms of what was redacted and not redacted is I think the amounts for all these funding envelopes were released. And what's
the amounts are there, but the actual programs where the monies are coming from are redacted. But these are public programs that would be available in estimates and other things. So, like, why would the programs be redacted? What's I don't understand. You said it's about being commercially sensitive. It seems to me it's inconsistent.
You have an answer. Yeah, please, Denis.
Okay. I can answer this. The redactions for the provincial breakdown of the contribution. It's not the title of the programs, but more about the locations of where that contribution will be dispersed. So, which projects at which location will where the disbursement will happen.
So where the money's going is confidential, is commercially sensitive. You determined to be commercially sensitive, confidential information.
That is what through consultation with the companies. And
is that what the company requested? They requested that be confidential.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So is the process that you go through? The company says we want all of these things redacted, and you say yes. Or you say no? that's clearly not commercially sensitive, and therefore we're not going to redact it. I guess what I'm asking is, do you have discretion internally to determine what was redacted for the committee, or was this just whatever Stellantis or which other company said, we consider this commercially sensitive, therefore it needs to be redacted?
I guess what I can answer is that, it's a back and forth discussion we have with companies on a case by case basis.
Okay.
And we play a challenge function in terms of, what a company requests to be redacted or not. And we have always in the past, and including in this case, found a reasonable landing ground in terms of what's redacted and what's not redacted.
And how many people in your department have access to these documents to determine the redactions, and what are their levels in the department?
Well, I have, in this specific case, I have the people beside me that were involved in those discussions.
That's it. No one else in the department. No one else had access to these documents than the 4 people sitting here today?
Access to the contribution agreement?
Yeah, the contribution agreement, the unredacted contribution agreement to determine the
So
redactions.
there would be, there would be officers within the program that were involved in the negotiation and the development of these documents who would see those documents, yes. So there is a team within the department that works on all of our contribution agreements, but those are treated commercially confidential, and we don't share that information outside of the department without the consent of the company.
Okay, that is our time.